Okay, so in 2008, some friends, some people that I think this group has met with, two experts on Sharia, John Guandolo and Steve Coughlin, were coming through Dallas to meet with David Barton, and in doing so, another mutual friend said, I want you, Kevin, to go meet with them. And I couldn't get out to the planned Barton meeting for wall builders, so he said, well, at least meet them for breakfast and take them to the airport, which I did. And this was in late November 2008. And we go to breakfast, and they're sitting and showing me what has essentially become a great book, Sharia, the Threat to America. And they're walking through the problems that we have with Sharia developing and crossing our country. And I said, that's scary. Let me show you something else that's scary. I've got a buddy that works at Wells Fargo in a very senior position. And on September 11th, 2008, he called me and he said, we see strange market activity coming out of the Middle East and London targeted on Lehman Brothers with the intention of bringing Lehman Brothers down. What do you think of that? And he sent in a tip to the FBI, and of course they never followed up. No response. Senior guy. I worked with him together at Templeton. Brilliant man and not at all given to conspiracy theories. So I sat down and I said, now that's a problem. Sharia is happening, but it's going to take a while. Here's a way you can take America down almost immediately. You hit us in the wallet. That's when people give in. Do you remember in 2000, I think it was 2004, when in Spain, before the election, in Madrid, Al-Qaeda bombed the trains? Do you remember this? Al-Qaeda group bombed the trains? And everybody panicked, and they put the pro-Al-Qaeda candidate into office in Spain. Do you remember that? Now, Americans don't work that way. You hit the World Trade Center, and we get fighting mad, and we go after it. If they'd bomb the trains in Washington, blow up the metro station, for example, who do you think would be president today? I mean, here, September 11th, it's McCain-Palin leading in the polls, and the trains get bombed. I guarantee you McCain-Palin are in the White House right now, because we'd put the war hero in. But you hit us in our wallet. That's our fear spot. That's our weak spot. And that's also our spiritual problem, which I'll talk about in a little bit. You hit us in our wallet, and we panic. Hope and change sounded good, and we bid it. We went for it, and we're paying for it now. Okay, so in 2008, I'm talking to these guys, and one of them is affiliated with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're working with the Irregular Warfare Group inside the Pentagon, and they said, that's scary. And I said, yeah, but it's happening right now. And I drew out on a cocktail napkin how they were taking down systematically our financial institutions with the intention of destroying our economy. I said, can I have this? And they took it back to Washington, and about a week, less than a week later, I got a call. Can you write a white paper on this? Because nobody here has even thought of this. And so I write a 3-page white paper and send it back. And I thought, well, it's the Pentagon, somebody somewhere. And I get back an email. And the email says, the CIA got caught with their pants down. They weren't aware of this. Nobody's thinking along these lines. And what do you mean nobody's thinking along these lines? What do we pay these people for? That was my thought. They came back and they said, you know what? We will, if you're interested, hire you to write a research report. And in, what do I have in there? January 2009, they actually commissioned me to write a research report right at the tail end of the Bush administration. I get the contract and the agreement. And it's presented in June 2009, in the early parts of the Obama administration. And the first thing they say when they get that, the first thing is, this is incredible. We've never seen anything like this. This is unbelievable. What does it take for your second phase of study? What do you need? And I said, I don't need much. I said, it might take a couple $1 million to do it properly. And they said, you got it. Just give us a few minutes and we'll get it to you. This is unbelievable. And then a strange thing happened. They came back to me and they said, you know, there are a lot of assumptions in here. I said, yes, there are some assumptions in there. Well, we really can't fund you unless you answer these assumptions. Can you write up a list of the assumptions and tell us what you've assumed and how you got there? I said, sure. I sat out on my front porch, and over the next day and a half, I went page by page and listed every assumption fairly and reasonably. And then I gave the data that backed up or supported the assumption and the basis for it. most of which came from the government itself. Sent it back to him. Unbelievable. Fabulous. Next phase of study. And then I got a phone call, followed by an email. We've looked at this and we've decided that why don't we just classify this? I said, what? Why don't we just classify this? What does that mean? Well, it means for one thing that if you talk about it, you go to jail. I said, what? It's all open source. My contract, it's 100% open source. There's nothing in there that has any classified material whatsoever. Yes, but your analysis we can classify. It's like, oh, great. So I called some friends. One of the friends that I have is a gentleman that was paired with me by this same group in January under the Bush administration. I remember it because today is my mother's birthday, February 9th. She passed away January 7th, 2009. And on that day, on the day before actually, I'm sitting in the hospital room with my mom and I get this anxious call. I've read your research, we've got to talk right away. And I said, can we wait? Can it wait? My mom is dying in the hospital and these are my last minutes with her. Would you mind? And he said, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, this gentleman said he had lost a parent not long ago and he said, let me give you the time that you need. So at 2 a.m, I'm sleeping and with my family in the room at the DoubleTree there in Tulsa, and the phone rings, and he says, now can we talk? So I sit, quiet as can be, whispering into the phone, sitting on the toilet with the seat down in the bathroom, talking, shh, yeah, that's right. And I'm going through this with him and walking through, and he said, this is frightening. This gentleman, by the way, was instrumental in the Sunni awakening in Iraq, and for years had been sending to the Inspector General of the Pentagon reports as he's dealing with people on ground, Fallujah, on ground, Tunisia, on ground, Abu Dhabi, all of these locations, everywhere he went, the friendly Arabs he was working with, and he did the Sunni awakening, so he got to notice a lot of the Sunni Arabs. They were telling, you know there's an economic attack coming. What does that mean? Now, he had some experience. He worked on Wall Street for quite a while, worked for Morgan Stanley. He had some experience. He said, what does that mean? They're going after the stock market. How are they going after the stock market? They're going to use the weaknesses. Now, we know Osama bin Laden has said for years, we know the cracks in the Western financial system like we know the lines in our own hand. And he was getting reports that there was going to be an attack coming. And so when I sent my research in, the Pentagon paired him with me and said, hey, this guy doesn't understand the Pentagon. You understand this. He's got the research. Let's put you together and get something good out of this. And he's become one of my very best friends, and he's a true American hero and a true patriot. So on the day when I was told that it might be classified, I called the one person I knew that I thought might be able to help me, Major Malloy, and I called him and said, hey, can you help me with this? They say they're going to classify this and put me in jail if I talk about it. He said, that's nuts. Give me 10 minutes. He called, through a friend, the former director of Central Intelligence, who took a copy, and all of this is in the book, by the way, took a copy of my research and handed it to John McCain, John Kyle, and Joe Lieberman. They stuck it in their safe. And he said, you go back and tell them that if they classify it, it will be read from the Senate floor tomorrow. And I got another phone call. And this one said, Mr. Freeman, you misunderstood us. We were going to protect you. We said we could classify it so we could protect you.